The Anunnaki have a lifespan of 200,000 years, and Anu has been their leader for the last 50,000 years. Anu has two sons, Enlil and Enki. Enlil works with their scientists to figure out that they can save the planet if they spray microscopic gold particles into the atmosphere to reflect the sun's radiation coming through the non-existent ozone. The only problem is they don't have any gold. So they set out searching for planets who do and found Earth. They know Earth has life, but it's just a few primitive bipedal creatures who are less than half the size of the Anunnaki. So they figure if we have to, we can take them. So they send out a party of 300 Anunnaki and 600 Igigi headed to Earth with a mission of setting up a city and mining Earth's gold. The Igigi are actually a separate alien civilization that had been conquered by the Anunnaki many years earlier and made into their own personal slave force. So once they land on Earth in the area that we know today as Mesopotamia, the Anunnaki, under the rule of Anu's son, Enki, put the Igigi to work building a settlement called Eridu, giving them all of 7 days to do it. The Igigi are a little grumpy, but they get it done, and then move on to digging for that gold. And dig they did. For about 150,000 years, with ships arriving regularly to take the gold back to Nibiru. But it's not enough. They need more gold. Enki tells the Igigi, work harder. And what was terrible treatment before gets even worse in trying to get the Igigi to work harder. But the Igigi are done. Under their leader, Atrahasis, the Igigi proclaim, mine your own gold. They collapse the mines and attack the city. They lose and are quickly brought back under control, but the Igigi still refuse to go back to work. Enlil, who's like the top administrator guy, says they're treasonous, they all gotta go. But Enki, more of a science guy, says, slow down, we're not gonna kill them. I got a way better idea. Let's use the locals. They're not really smart enough right now, but if we give them a little of our DNA, I'm sure we can come up with something smart enough to work the mines, but not smart enough to ask questions. Takes a few tries to get it right, giving us a few mistakes along the way, like the Cyclops, but they managed to develop a race of hominid that we know today as Homo sapien, the first of which they name Adamu, which means first man in Sumerian. And if you haven't guessed already, how long ago did Homo sapiens enter the fossil record, according to mainstream archaeology? About 300,000 years ago, right about the time the Igigi call it quits. So, okay, problem solved. Now we have this custom-made local force to dig for us, and the mining continues. But it turns out that human nature isn't just for humans. I don't know if it's out of boredom or because after being here 150,000 years, he's starting to get the itch to settle down and start a family or what, but Enki starts eyeing the human women and starts messing around. Big no-no. But he does it anyway, and to no one's surprise, has a son named Adapa. So Adapa, being part Anunnaki and part human, is a little smarter than the other humans. And his lineage starts asking questions. Why are we mining gold? Gold must be important. I want some of that. Beginning our preoccupation as a species with gold as a valued commodity. And Adapa's offspring are not as docile as their forefathers. They fight back. And either through violence or attrition, the new aggressive human 2.0 thrives, and the more docile human 1.0 dies out. But human 2.0 turns out to be a little too successful. They overpopulate the cities and start riots over the lack of food. Enlil, ever the administrator, tries to control the violence by thinning the population through plagues and famine. Enki intercedes on their behalf, and a deal is struck that humans would have to leave the city of Eridu, including its lush and beautiful garden named Eden, and fend for themselves in the real world. So they do, and spread themselves out all over the planet. Now, some humans retain their relationships with the Anunnaki, producing hybrid offspring that sometimes, to humans at least, are giants.